sinister figure known as Cropsey stalks the nightmares of those who dare to whisper his name. Originally conceived as a boogeyman to scare children into obedience, Cropsey evolved into a far more horrifying reality, merging with the true crimes of a man named Andre Rand, whose deeds during the 1970s and 1980s turned him into a living embodiment of the legend. The tale of Cropsey began as a ghost story, one that parents recounted during hushed evenings, a spectral figure lurking in the shadows of the woods, preying on wayward children who strayed too far from home. Descriptions varied, but all agreed on his ghastly demeanour, a disfigured face, haunting eyes, and a hook for a hand, dragging behind him the echoes of chains he rattled, a warning in the wind. As the urban legend grew, so did Cropsey's malevolence. He was said to reside in the ruins of the abandoned Willowbrook State School, a place already steeped in dark history due to its controversial past, as a residence for children with disabilities, subjected to horrendous conditions. Here, Cropsey found his sinister refuge, emerging under the cloak of night to chase the echoes of laughter with a hunter's glee. But the line between myth and reality blurred horrifically when children in Staten Island began to disappear in the 1970s and 80s. Panic gripped the community as the legend of Cropsey seemed to come alive. And then came Andre Rand, a former employee of the Willowbrook State School. When he was arrested in connection with the disappearances, the people of Staten Island were aghast to find that their boogeyman had taken human form. Rand was convicted of kidnapping, and the community was forced to confront the terrifying possibility that Cropsey was not just a tale to frighten children, but a real predator walking among them. Each trial brought more attention to the legend, each disappearance a grim chapter added to the lore. Today, the story of Cropsey remains a macabre token of Staten Island's history. The dilapidated structures of Willowbrook still stand, overgrown and forsaken, yet pulsing with the dark heartbeat of past atrocities. Those who venture near claim to feel a chilling presence, hear the faint rattle of chains, or see a shadow dart between the trees. Cropsey has transcended his origins as a mere boogeyman to become a symbol of real-life horrors, a cautionary tale that warns of the monsters that may dwell not just in our stories, but in the very heart of our communities. We journey into the misty woods of Bradley, where the sorrowful spirit of the Black Lady roams. Let her quiet footsteps guide you into a peaceful, restful sleep. The Black Lady of Bradley Woods is a haunting figure from English folklore, said to roam the dark and mysterious woods near the village of Bradley in Lincolnshire. This spectral presence has been a part of local legend for centuries, with many claiming to have caught glimpses of her wandering the woods, shrouded in sorrow and silence. Described as a tall, slender woman, dressed entirely in black, the Black Lady is most often seen wearing a long, flowing cloak with a hood that covers her face. Her appearances are always marked by an overwhelming sense of sadness and grief, as if she is forever searching for something or someone lost. Her skin is pale, and her eyes, when visible, are filled with an eternal sorrow that seems to pierce through those who encounter her. According to the most well-known version of the legend, the Black Lady was once a young Devastated by the loss of her family, the young mother wandered the woods, searching endlessly for her child, until her grief consumed her, and she eventually perished. From that moment on, her restless spirit is said to have remained bound to the woods, eternally searching for her lost baby. Locals claim that the Black Lady appears most often on misty evenings, her figure emerging from the shadows of the trees. Some say she will ask passers-by if they have seen her child, while others report that she simply stares, lost in her grief, before vanishing back into the darkness. Over the years, the legend of the Black Lady has served as a cautionary tale for children, warning them to stay away from the woods after dark. While many are skeptical, there are still those who believe in her presence, and stories of sightings continue to circulate. Whether real or imagined, the Black Lady of Bradley Woods remains a symbol of deep sorrow and eternal longing. Her tragic story lingers in the minds of those who hear it, casting a shadow of mystery and sadness over the quiet village of Bradley. We dive into the unsettling tale of the Colander lie detector, a strange and eerie urban legend. Settle in, relax, and let this mysterious story guide you gently into sleep. An eerie urban legend from the 1960s speaks of a chilling interrogation method used by police or army investigators. It began with a crude yet unsettling setup. A colander, typically used for straining pasta, repurposed into a nightmarish piece of equipment. The investigators would place this everyday kitchen item onto the head of a suspect, but its sinister transformation didn't end there. Wires connected the colander to a photocopier, creating the illusion of advanced technology. In a dimly lit interrogation room, the suspect would sit nervously as the investigators loomed over them, watching intently. The tension was palpable, the walls closing in as the suspect was bombarded with questions. The investigators' eyes would dart back and forth between the suspect and the machine, waiting for the first crack in their story. Each time the suspect answered, the photocopier would whir to life, spitting out a fresh sheet of paper. The sound of its mechanical churning filled the room, amplifying the sense of dread. If the answer was deemed acceptable, the machine remained silent, offering a brief respite. But if the investigators found the response suspicious or dishonest, the copier would hiss and clunk, printing a single sheet with a damning message: "He's lying." The effect was immediate. Suspects, creators manipulated the machine, not through science or technology, but through psychological warfare. The power of suggestion turned the colander and photocopier into terrifying tools, blurring the line between reality and fiction. Some say the interrogators used this method for years, laughing behind closed doors at how easily their victims were broken by the sight of a kitchen utensil on their head. But as with any legend, the line between truth and myth is thin. Stories began to circulate of suspects who couldn't handle the pressure, of minds unravelling as they became trapped in a game where the stakes felt life or death. Whispers of the colander lie detector persist, and while it's easy to dismiss it as a bizarre tale from the past, one can't help but wonder if, somewhere in a dark corner of the world, the machine is still being used, waiting to catch its next victim in its web of fear and deception. Let's drift into the eerie whispers of Eastern Europe, where a mysterious black car roamed the streets, haunting, silent, and deadly. Welcome to the legend of the Black Volga. The Black Volga is an urban legend that circulated in Eastern Europe, especially during the 1960s and 1970s. It centres around a mysterious black Volga limousine that was allegedly used to abduct people, particularly children. According to the legend, the car would appear suddenly on quiet streets, driven by unknown figures, often described as government agents, priests, or even supernatural beings like vampires or the devil himself. The rumours varied from region to region, but one constant remained. Anyone who saw the Black Volga or came too close to it would disappear without a trace. In some versions, the victims were taken for organ harvesting, while others claimed they were used in bizarre occult rituals. Children were the most common targets, vanishing after being approached by the ominous vehicle, leading to widespread fear among parents. Some believed the kidnappings were part of a larger government conspiracy, while others suspected that foreign powers or even secret societies were behind the abductions. The vehicle itself, typically a black Volga, Gazi 21 or Gazi 24, became synonymous with fear. The dark windows, the eerie silence as it moved, and the inability to identify the driver or passengers added to the sense of dread. In some accounts, the Volga had red curtains, horns, or other demonic features. The myth grew as people claimed to see the car speeding through the neighbourhoods or lurking near schools and playgrounds. Although there is no substantial evidence to support these claims, the Black Volga legend played into the anxieties of the time, when people lived under oppressive regimes and feared the unknown. The cold, controlling nature of Soviet rule, combined with stories of disappearances, fueled paranoia. The legend of the Black Volga became a way to explain the unexplainable. A person goes missing, and the car was blamed. Over time, the story evolved and spread beyond Eastern Europe, becoming part of a broader tapestry of urban legends. Though the panic surrounding the Black Volga has faded, it remains a chilling reminder of how fear can drive communities to believe in the darkest of tales. We dive into the eerie legend of the Shonshon, a mythical creature that haunts the night skies. Let its chilling tale lull you into a peaceful sleep, if you dare. Deep in the shadowy forests of Chile and southern Argentina, an ancient terror lurks in the night. Whispered in hushed tones among villagers, the the Chonchon is no ordinary creature. Its very existence defies nature, sending shivers down the spines of those who dare speak its name. Legend has it that the Chonchon is not a bird, but a cursed being, a sorcerer who has performed a dark ritual to transform into this horrifying creature. In the dead of night, the sorcerer's head detaches from its body, sprouting enormous wings from the ears. Blood-curdling cries, like the screams of 1,000 tormented souls, signal its arrival. The sound, known as tutu, chills the air, forewarning death for anyone who hears it. They say the Chonchon soars through the night skies in search of prey, gliding silently above the rooftops of unsuspecting villages. Those unfortunate enough to cross its path rarely live to tell the tale. It is said that the Chonchon can slip into homes undetected, like a whisper on the wind, draining the life force of its victims, leaving them pale and hollow by dawn. Those who survive its attack are left forever haunted, their minds shattered by the encounter. Many have tried to catch a glimpse of the Chonchon, but only a few ever return from their hunts, and those who do are never the same again. Their descriptions are fragmented, as though the horror of what they witnessed burned itself into their minds. The Chonchon's eyes, they say, are glowing red orbs, filled with a malevolent intelligence far older than time. Its wings beat with unnatural silence, a deadly predator slipping through the night like a phantom. It is said that only the most skilled of shamans can undo the curse of the Chonchon, but these rituals are dangerous, and failure means the sorcerer's twisted form will be free to wreak havoc for eternity. To this day, villagers lock their doors and windows tight when they hear the faintest whisper of the Chonchon's cry. The wind, though invisible, might carry death with it, for the Chonchon does not rest. It hungers, always searching for its next victim, always lurking in the darkness, just out of sight. So, beware the stillness of the night, for you may never know if the next faint flap of wings you hear belongs to the Chonchon until it's too late. Tonight, we journey to Iowa City, where the eerie legend of the Black Angel awaits. Let the mysterious tale of this cursed statue guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. Black Annis, also known as Black Agnes or Black Anna, is a chilling figure in English folklore, described as a terrifying hag with a blue face, sharp iron claws, and a fierce hunger for human flesh. She lurks in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. According to the legend, Black Annis once lived in a cave in the Dane Hills near Leicester, which she is said to have carved out herself using only her iron claws. The entrance of her cave was surrounded by a large oak tree, from which she would emerge to hunt her prey. Her most infamous targets were children and young animals. The legend says that Black Annis would creep into the nearby villages under the cover of nightfall, dragging children back to her cave to devour them. She would skin her victims and hang their hides on the branches of her oak tree, using them to make clothing for herself during the harsh winters. Parents in the area used the tale of Black Annis as a way to scare their children into behaving or staying indoors after dark. The mere mention of her name would be enough to keep children obedient and fearful of wandering too far from home. Some versions of the legend claim that Black Annis could stretch her long arms through windows to snatch disobedient children from their beds if they didn't close their shutters at night. Despite her terrifying reputation, investigation, Black Annis also played a role in explaining natural phenomena. Her dark cave, according to local law, was believed to be an old burial site or a den she carved in the hillside. Some believed that her presence symbolised the harshness of nature, particularly the long, unforgiving winters that plagued the countryside. Over time, the tale of Black Annis grew in popularity and spread beyond the villages, becoming part of Leicester's folklore. Some say her spirit still haunts the area, while others believe she was merely a cautionary figure created to instill fear in children and protect them from the dangers of the wilderness. Today, Black Annis remains a symbol of fear and darkness in English folklore. Her legacy lives on as one of the most terrifying urban legends, reminding people of the thin line between the safety of home and the lurking dangers of the outside world. Relax and unwind as we delve into the eerie tale of the Buckley family, an urban legend shrouded in mystery. Let the chilling story guide you gently into a deep, peaceful sleep. The Buckley family urban legend revolves around a chilling photograph of two children who reportedly murdered their mother on Halloween night. The story begins with the discovery of an old, grainy black and white photo found in an abandoned house, showing a young boy and girl standing side by side. At first glance, the picture seems innocent, but upon closer inspection, there's something unnerving about the children's blank expressions. The story behind the photo is far more sinister. According to legend, the Buckley family lived in a quiet neighbourhood in the 1950s. On Halloween, the two Buckley children, who were around 10 and 12 years old, brutally murdered their mother in cold blood. They supposedly planned the murder for weeks, waiting for the perfect night when no one would suspect their horrific intentions. Some versions of the tale say the children wore Halloween costumes to hide their identities, making it harder for the neighbours to realise the terrible act they had committed. After killing their mother, the children left her body in the house and calmly walked outside as if nothing had happened. When the authorities arrived, the children were found sitting on the porch, eerily silent, still wearing their costumes, their hands stained with blood. The photograph that surfaced after the incident is said to have been taken moments before or after the murder, capturing the children in their eerie calmness. Some believe the image was discovered by the police as part of their investigation, while others say it was found years later in the abandoned Buckley house, where the children had been left to live after the tragedy. The whereabouts of the children after the murder remain unknown, adding to the mystery and fear surrounding the story. Over time, the Buckley family legend became a popular urban myth, with various retellings on online forums and in ghost story circles. The photograph itself has become a symbol of fear, said to be cursed. Anyone who gazes at it too long or too often experiences terrible nightmares, or even worse, finds themselves drawn into the same darkness that consumed the Buckley children. The Buckley family tale continues to be passed down as a reminder of the horrors that can lurk behind seemingly innocent faces, forever leaving a haunting impression on those who hear it. Exeter, Rhode Island. Relax, close your eyes, and let this mysterious story take you back in time. In the small, quiet town of Exeter, Rhode Island, during the late 19th century, the Brown family was plagued by tragedy. Tuberculosis, a deadly disease with no known cure at the time, had already claimed the lives of several members of the family. The illness was known as consumption, due to how it appeared to waste away its victims. George Brown, the patriarch, watched helplessly as one by one his loved ones fell ill and died. His wife, Mary Eliza, was the first to succumb, followed by his eldest daughter, Mary Olive, both taken within a few short years of each other. Despite these losses, George hoped the worst had passed. However, his youngest daughter, Mercy Brown, soon fell ill with the same symptoms. Mercy was a bright young woman, but tuberculosis did not spare her, and she died in January 1892 at the age of 19. Her death left the Brown family devastated, but the horror was not yet over. Just weeks after Mercy's passing, her brother, Edwin, who had been ill for some time, took a turn for the worse. Fearing for his life, desperate measures were taken, leading to the birth of an enduring legend. At the time, tuberculosis was not well understood, and in many rural communities, fear and superstition spread almost as quickly as the disease itself. In Exeter, some townsfolk began to whisper about the possibility of something more sinister. Could the dead be rising from their graves to drain the life from the living? This idea, while unthinkable to modern sensibilities, was deeply rooted in folklore at the time. In New England, there was a long-standing belief in vampires. Though these vampires were not the glamorous creatures of Gothic fiction, but rather the restless dead rising from their graves to consume the life force of their living relatives. George Brown, despite being a practical man, was persuaded by his neighbours to exhume the bodies of his deceased family members, hoping to find the cause of Edwin's worsening condition. In March of 1892, with the ground still frozen, a small group of men gathered in the graveyard where the Browns were buried. They first dug up the remains of George's wife and eldest daughter, but both had decomposed as expected. Then they turned to Mercy. Unlike the others, Mercy's body was found to be in a strangely preserved state, even though she had been buried for over 2 months. Her skin still appeared relatively intact, and there were even rumours that her body had shifted in the grave, as though she had been moving after death. The most alarming discovery, however, was the presence of fresh blood in her heart and veins. Let's unwind with a chilling tale. The choking Doberman, a mysterious intruder, a loyal pet, and a terrifying discovery will take you into the shadows. Relax and let the story begin. On a cold, dark night, a woman returned home after a long day. Her house was eerily silent, except for the faint sound of her Doberman whimpering. Startled, she rushed to find him slumped on the living room floor, struggling for air. The dog's body convulsed as it tried to cough up whatever was lodged in its throat. Panicked, the woman knelt beside her beloved pet, trying to comfort him. His choking worsened, and she knew she had to act fast. Without hesitation, she scooped up the Doberman and sped to the nearest vet clinic, her heart pounding as her dog gasped for air in the back seat. Every passing moment felt like an eternity. When they arrived, the vet wasted no time. They sedated the dog and began to investigate the source of the obstruction. What they found made the vet's face go pale. He slowly pulled out a severed human finger from the Doberman's throat. The woman stood frozen in shock shock as the vet explained what had caused her dog's distress. A chilling sense of dread crept over her. Whose finger was it? The vet urged her to call the police immediately. Shaking, she dialed 911 and told the dispatcher what had happened. The operator's voice, initially calm, quickly grew tense. "Get out of the house, Mum. Now!" Confused and terrified, the woman grabbed her keys and ran outside, just as the police arrived. They searched the house, checking every room, every shadowy corner. In the master bedroom, they found him. A man hiding under the bed, bleeding profusely from his hand. His face twisted in agony, and his eyes were wide with panic. The police quickly apprehended him. It became clear that the intruder had broken into the house while the woman was away, but her Doberman had caught him in the act, biting off his finger as he fought back. The woman stood outside, staring at the house that had once felt like a sanctuary. The image of her brave dog choking on that grotesque finger replayed in her mind. Her blood running cold. What if the dog hadn't intervened? What if she had come home earlier? Those questions lingered, gnawing at her sanity, long after the intruder was taken away. The dog, her loyal protector, had saved her life, but at a horrifying cost. Let's journey into the haunting forests of Veracruz, where ancient whispers tell of mysterious creatures called the Shenekes. Close your eyes, relax, and let their eerie legend guide you to sleep. In the dense, untamed forests of Veracruz, whispers of an ancient terror linger, the Shenekes. Born from the depths of Aztec mythology, these eerie creatures are believed to dwell between the realms of the living and the underworld. Their sole purpose? To guard the sacred mountains and wild creatures that roam their untamed domains. But these guardians are far from benevolent. The Shenekes are small, no taller than a child, but their appearance is deceptive. They take on the guise of tiny men and women, their forms twisted and contorted, with eyes that glimmer like blackened coals. Their laughter, an eerie, high-pitched sound, echoes through the trees, growing louder the deeper you wander into the forest. Travellers who hear this sound know they've strayed too far into Shenek territory, and once the creatures have set their sights on you, escape is nearly impossible. The air grows thick, heavy with the scent of damp earth and rotting leaves, and suddenly you'll realise that the path you are following has vanished. The trees around you seem to close in, and the familiar sounds of the forest, bird song, the rustling of leaves, fall deathly silent. It is then that the Sheneks strike. With swift, silent movements, they dart between the trees, their eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Their soft whispers crawl inside your head, filling your mind with confusion and dread. Legends say that the Shenek possess a terrifying power. They can steal a person's tonali, the very essence of one's soul. Once taken, the victim is left wandering in a daze, trapped in a state of confusion and fear. Days turn to weeks, and the unfortunate traveller begins to wither, their mind unravelling until they are but a hollow shell of their former self. To those who manage to escape the forest, the ordeal never truly ends. They say that the Shenekes curse their victims with endless nightmares and strange illnesses, their whispers haunting them long after they've left the woods behind. The only way to break free is to return to the forest and appease the Sheneks with offerings of food or valuables. A dangerous proposition, for those who return rarely make it out alive. In the dark, shadowy depths of the forest, the Sheneks wait, ever watchful. For once you enter their domain, you belong to them, and they will not let you go. quiet streets of Greenock, Scotland, a sinister legend lurks in the shadows, a tale whispered since the 1970s. The Catman of Greenock, a creature both feared and pitied, has haunted the alleyways, becoming a story that locals tell in hushed voices to keep their children close at night. The Catman was said to be human once. No one really knows his name, nor what series of cruel misfortunes led him to crawl through the gutters, scavenging to survive. They say he emerged from the forgotten corners of society, driven by desperation, until his body took on a twisted, primal state. His skin is pallid, coated with grime and dirt, his eyes sunken, but glinting with an animalistic gleam. The Catman scuttles along the alleys and underpasses, always staying close to the ground, moving with an unsettling feline grace. It is said that he survives on rats, devouring them with his bare hands. Eyewitnesses claim to have seen him in the dead of night, his filthy fingers closing around a writhing rodent, sinking his teeth into the squirming creature, the crunch of bone and squeal of his prey echoing faintly against the bricks. The very sight of it sends shivers down the spine, a glimpse of a forgotten human reduced to something almost feral. Yet, it's not just the rats that keep the Catman company. Rumours tell of a colony of wild cats that live alongside him, creatures drawn to him by some inexplicable bond. They say he cares for them, shares his meals with them, and they, in turn, protect him. A grim pact between the lost and the forsaken. Locals swear they've seen him surrounded by these creatures, his bony hands stroking their mangy fur as if they were his only family. To some, he's become a twisted guardian of the alleyways, a protector of the stray and forgotten. People say if you wander the outskirts of Greenock at night, you might just catch a glimpse of him, eyes glowing like those of the wild cats, staring from the shadows. The bravest claim to have seen his crooked silhouette crawling across the ground, always close to his feline companions. Some who have dared to approach say they've heard him hiss, a low, guttural warning, more animal than man. No one knows where the Catman sleeps, or if he ever does. He vanishes with the sunrise, retreating to some dark hole beneath the streets, leaving only unease in his wake. To see the Catman of Greenock is to witness a living nightmare, a reminder of how close we all are to the edge of something monstrous, something forgotten, something no longer entirely human. Tonight, let me guide you into the shadows of ancient Spain, where the chilling legend of the Castilian lisp unfolds. Relax, close your eyes, and let the whispers of history lull you to sleep. In the dark corners of Spain's forgotten history, a chilling tale has lingered for centuries, whispered among locals and passed down from generation to generation. It's the legend of the Castilian lisp, a haunting story that, while discredited by scholars, continues to send shivers down the spines of those who hear it. Long ago, in a time when kings ruled with an iron fist and the boundaries between myth and reality were blurred, there was a king unlike any other. His name has been lost to the shadows of time, but his affliction, an unmistakable lisp, would echo across Spain, leaving a trail of fear and confusion in its wake. The king's speech was strange, almost inhuman, as though something had cursed his very words. His voice carried an eerie sibilance, a sound that cut through the air like the hiss of a snake. The court, terrified of the king's wrath, dared not speak of his speech defect, but whispers of dark magic and ancient curses spread beyond the castle walls, infecting the imagination of the populace. It was said that the king king's lisp was no mere quirk of speech, but the result of a sinister pact made with forces beyond this world. Some claimed he had bargained with a demon for power, and in return his tongue was twisted, forcing him to speak in a way that no one else could. Others believed that a vengeful witch had cursed him, condemning his voice to forever sound as though it were tethered to the underworld. As the legend goes, the king was a man of great influence, and no one dared to correct his speech. Instead, out of fear, the courtiers and nobles began to mimic the king's pronunciation. His strange lisp spread like a disease, infecting the tongues of those who sought to curry favour with the crown. Soon, it was said, the entire kingdom spoke as their king did, their voices carrying the cursed sound of the theatre. The streets echoed with the eerie lisp, a constant reminder of the dark secret lurking in Spain's past. Children grew up speaking the language of the damned, unaware of the malevolent forces that had shaped their words. Though historians have debunked this tale as pure fantasy, the legend persists, a chilling reminder of how even the most benign of sounds can carry with them the weight of a curse. The next time you hear the soft hiss of a theatre in Spanish speech, remember the tale of the cursed king and wonder what dark power still lingers behind the sound. Let's dive into the eerie tale of Carmen Winstead, a chilling urban legend that's been passed down through whispers. Relax, get comfortable, and let this haunting story lull you to sleep. Carmen Winstead was a 17-year-old high school student, an ordinary girl by most accounts. But her life took a horrifying turn one fateful day. It all started when her family moved to a new town. Carmen found herself struggling to fit in, especially with a group of girls who often bullied her. They teased her relentlessly, picking on her for things as trivial as her clothes and her quiet demeanour. One afternoon, during a fire drill at school, the bullying escalated to a deadly level. Carmen and the other students were lined up outside, next to an open manhole that led deep into the town's sewer system. As the drill went on, Carmen's tormentors decided to pull a cruel prank. They started pushing and shoving her closer to the edge, laughing as Carmen tried to maintain her balance. But things quickly spiraled out of control. With one final shove, Carmen lost her footing and plummeted into the open manhole. The fall was long and deadly, and when she hit the bottom, her neck snapped, killing her instantly. The bullies, realising the horror of what they had done, panicked. Instead of confessing, they decided to lie. They told the teachers and authorities that Carmen had simply fallen in by accident. The school and police accepted their story, and Carmen's death was ruled a tragic accident. But Carmen's story didn't end there. Soon after her funeral, the girls who had been responsible for her death started receiving strange emails and messages. The emails claimed to be from Carmen herself, warning them that they would soon face justice for what they had done. At first, the girls dismissed the messages as a sick joke, but as time passed, one by one, they started to disappear. Each girl met a mysterious end, found dead in the same way Carmen had died, pushed into a sewer, their necks broken. Their deaths were unexplained, and rumours spread through the school. Then the emails began circulating more widely, warning others, pass this message on, or Carmen will come for you. The urban legend of Carmen Winstead, sometimes referred to as Jessica Smith, became infamous. People believed that failing to forward the message would bring Carmen's vengeful spirit to their doorstep, claiming them just as she did her tormentors. Let's journey into the peaceful waters of the Pacific coast, where Victoria, British Columbia, where it has reportedly been spotted numerous times over the years. The legend of Caddy has become a staple of local folklore, with stories of its sightings stretching from Alaska to California, although British Columbia remains its most frequent haunt. Described as a massive, snake-like creature, Cadborosaurus is said to possess a long serpentine body, often estimated to be between 10 to 50 feet in length. Witnesses describe its head as horse-like, with large eyes, and sometimes small horns or fins protruding from the sides. The creature is also thought to have humps along its back, similar to the classic sea serpent imagery that has been passed down through various cultures around the world. These humps are often visible as it glides just beneath the surface of the water, leaving a distinct wake in its path. Caddy's elusive nature adds to the mystery surrounding it. There are countless accounts from sailors, fishermen, and beachgoers who claim to have seen the creature, yet no definitive physical evidence has ever been produced to confirm its existence. The creature is usually reported to move with great speed, effortlessly cutting through the water, making it difficult to capture or photograph. Some theories suggest that Caddy could be a type of prehistoric marine animal that has managed to survive in the deep, unexplored waters of the Pacific. Others believe it could be an undiscovered species of giant eel or a relative of the oarfish, a long, ribbon-like fish known for its impressive size. Throughout the years, various expeditions and searches have been launched to find Cadborosaurus, but none have succeeded in proving the creature's existence. In 1937, the legend gained even more traction when the carcass of a strange sea creature, believed by some to be Caddy, was found in the stomach of a sperm whale. The discovery sparked a flurry of media attention, but the remains were never properly examined, and skeptics argue that the body was likely that of a known marine species. Despite the lack of solid evidence, the legend of Cadborosaurus lives on, inspiring curiosity and wonder about what might still be lurking beneath the waves. Welcome to our soothing journey into the mysterious world of urban legends. Tonight, we'll explore the haunting tale of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, a story that whispers through the ages. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall is one of the most famous ghost stories in England, originating from the picturesque Raynham Hall in Norfolk. This legend captures the imagination of those fascinated by the supernatural and the unexplained. Raynham Hall, built in the early 18th century, was the ancestral home of the Townshend family. It is a grand estate characterised by its stunning architecture and beautiful grounds, but it also harbours a chilling tale of loss and lingering spirits. The story of the Brown Lady is closely linked to Lady Dorothy Walpole, the sister of the first Prime Minister, Sir Robert Walpole. It is said that she married Charles Townshend, a man known for his volatile temperament. The couple's marriage was fraught with difficulties, leading to tragedy and heartbreak. According to legend, Lady Dorothy fell in love with another man, which enraged her husband. In a fit of jealousy, Townshend confined her to Raynham Hall, where she was said to have lived in isolation for many years. Her suffering took a toll on her health, and it is believed that she eventually died of despair. Some accounts suggest that she was buried in a secret location, leading to speculation about a restless spirit haunting the halls of the estate. The haunting began to capture public attention in the early 20th century when two photographers, including Captain Hubert Provat, visited Raynham Hall in 1936. They were there to capture images historic building when they encountered an unexpected sight. As they set up their equipment, a figure appeared before them, a woman in a flowing brown gown, seemingly floating down the staircase. Provant and his colleague quickly snapped a photograph, which would later become one of the most famous ghost images in history. The photograph, known as the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, shows a spectral figure descending the staircase, shrouded in a mysterious aura. This image sparked widespread fascination and debate, drawing the attention of both skeptics and believers in the paranormal. Many claimed it was a genuine ghostly apparition, while others argued it could be a double exposure or a trick of light. Regardless of the theories surrounding the photograph, it has become an enduring symbol of the paranormal and a centerpiece of ghost lore. The legend of the Brown Lady has continued to evolve over the years, with numerous accounts of sightings and experiences recounted by visitors to Raynham Hall. Some have reported feelings of unease, strange noises, and even glimpses of the ghostly figure in her iconic brown gown. These tales have cemented the Brown Lady's status as one of England's most notorious spirits. Today, Raynham Hall stands as a historic estate that welcomes visitors curious about its intriguing past. Ghost tours and paranormal investigations often highlight the story of the Brown Lady, allowing guests to delve into the haunting narrative that lingers in the air. Let's journey into the mysterious world of the Boo Hags, a spine-chilling urban legend from the Gullah culture. Relax, close your eyes, and let this eerie tale guide you into sleep. The legend of the Boo Hags originates from the Gullah culture, deeply rooted in the coastal regions of South Carolina and Georgia. These skinless, vampire-like witches are said to be evil souls who remain in the mortal world after death, seeking out the living to continue their existence. Unlike traditional vampires, Boo Hags don't drain their victims of blood. Instead, they feed off their breath, leaving their prey exhausted and lifeless. According to the legend, Boo Hags are born from wicked souls who fail to move on to the afterlife. Without their skin, they appear grotesque, raw, red, and sinewy, making it impossible for them to blend in with the living. To navigate the human world, Boo Hags steal the skin of their victims, slipping it on like a disguise. Once they've taken someone's skin, they go out into the night to ride. This is a term used to describe their haunting behaviour, where they visit the homes of unsuspecting victims and take control of their bodies while they sleep. The process begins when a Boo Hag silently enters a home, usually through cracks or open windows, as they are believed to be capable of squeezing through the smallest of spaces. Once inside, they sit on the chest of their sleeping target, feeding on their breath and life energy. As the Boo Hag drains its victim, the person will experience intense nightmares, leaving them physically weakened by morning. While the Boo Hag feeds, the victim is paralysed, unable to move or wake. By dawn, the witch leaves its victim, slipping away before anyone realises what happened. However, Boo Hags have a weakness. They must return the skin they've stolen before sunrise, or they will be exposed and destroyed by daylight. If caught without their skin, they are vulnerable and can be easily defeated. To protect themselves, people in Gullah communities often took precautions to ward off these sinister beings. One method involved placing a broom by the door or scattering rice on the floor, as Boo Hags are said to be compelled to count small objects. If a Boo Hag becomes distracted by counting, it won't have enough time to finish before the sun rises, forcing it to retreat to avoid being caught. Another common belief is that painting windowsills and doors blue, a colour thought to repel visited during the night. If a boo hag becomes particularly attached to a victim, they may return night after night, eventually leading to the victim's death through sheer exhaustion and depletion of life energy. The boo hag legend is a chilling reminder of the dangers lurking in the shadows of the night. It warns people to be cautious, vigilant, and to protect themselves against malevolent spirits that may be waiting to take their skin for a deadly ride. The story continues to be passed down through generations. Tonight, we journey to Iowa City, where the eerie legend of the Black Angel awaits. Let the mysterious tale of this cursed statue guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. The Black Angel is a haunting urban legend centered around a statue in Oakland Cemetery, Iowa City. The statue, standing over 8 feet tall, was erected in 1912 to mark the grave of Teresa Feldovert, a woman of Czech descent. Over time, the statue gained a sinister reputation, and many locals began to believe it was cursed. The Black Angel originally had a bright bronze colour, but as the years passed, it darkened to a deep black, which fueled the legend's eerie narrative. Some say the change in colour represents the anger or grief of Teresa's spirit. Others believe the blackened statue is an omen of death, with various warnings attached to it. One popular belief is that anyone who touches or kisses the statue will be met with an untimely death. Another variation claims that those who look directly into the angel's eyes at midnight will be cursed. The statue's mysterious appearance, combined with its dark colour and imposing presence, has made it a popular site for paranormal enthusiasts and thrill seekers. Many visit the cemetery to test the legend, while others keep their distance, unwilling to risk the supposed curse. Though the Black Angel story is rooted in local folklore, the real cause of the statue's discoloration is simply weathering and oxidation of the bronze. Despite this, the legend remains a captivating part of Iowa City's history, continuing to intrigue and frighten those who hear it. Whether cursed or